Hello, I'm Zachary Tepford, and this is going to be my walkthrough of my MATLAB project code. So let's start my game. Alright, we got a display message welcoming the user to my game. I titled it Darkest Dungeon. And then we're going to go into character inputs. So first input is going to be for rules. We initiate a variable with an input statement asking if they want to see the rules. If they do, they click 1. We have an if statement. If they do input 1, it shows all of them. If they input anything else, we're going to show that they skipped the rules. For purpose of this, I'm going to show that I want to see the rules, and it would display all the rules down here. And then there's 3 other inputs. We have character color, character shape, and wall color. So all of them have the same logic. I assign the variable that I'm using as 0 to begin with, which initiates my while loop here. So as long as that variable is not equal to 1, 2, or 3, it's going to keep doing this until the user gives me one of those values. That makes it so if they input anything other than that, like let's say 1.5, it would repeat it and ask them again. So I have the variable assigned to an input that the user gets. For 1, you got blue, red, and a random RGB matrix. And that same logic applies on the other ones. For shapes, it's a square, circle, or diamond. And for the wall color, it's black, green, or another random RGB matrix. So I'm going to make my character red. I'm going to make the shape a diamond. And I'm going to make the walls, let's do a random color. And that'll generate my plot, or my figures. So here we go. We go down here. I have some matrices that I used to reference later in my code for easier code writing. So I have one for the walls, filling the plots, the zones. Here is my move counter. We started at 0. Also a pause time variable to be used later. And then we start with generating plots. So, excuse me. So we start off by having this for loop that is going to black out zones 2 through 9. We're skipping zone 1 because we don't want to block that out. And it's going to also make the X limit, and it's going to fill it, make X limit, Y limit. That makes all these black, and then at the same time, we're also going to plot our character initially. So we're looking at specifically zone 1. We're going to fill the walls. We're going to hold on, and then we're going to set X limit, Y limit, and plot my character and assign my zone. Then we're going to go into before we go into the while loop, I also assign the key zone variable. This will determine where the key is generated. And that is a random integer between 2 through 9, because it cannot be in zone 1, so it will be in any of the other zones. So I have 2 big while loops. My first one is while the zone that you're in is not equal to the key zone. You're going to keep being in this. This makes it that way as long as your character is not in the same one as the key. We're going to just keep going through the movement. So I have a bunch of if statements in here, a bunch of if and else ifs that just tell me if my zone is equal to wherever I am. Then while my zone is equal to wherever I am, we're going to go through directions. So it's going to tell the user where they are, and it's going to ask for directional input, with north being 1, 2 being south, 3 being east, and 4 being west. And basically, in this case, you can't, you're in zone 1, so you can't go north and you can't go west. So for that, I would say if direction is equal to 1, which is north, then you can't do that. I would tell them to try again. And since we're in the while loop and we're still in zone 1, it would redisplay the initial 2 statements here. So for example, if I asked to go north, I couldn't. It would say that I can't do that, and it would redisplay the input message. North and south, if I were in any other zone that can move, function very similarly. So in zone 1, I can move south. So I'm going to tell them that I'm going to move south. I'm going to have a for loop that moves the character in zone 1 or in whatever zone you're in. Initially, we're going to move in the zone that we're in by doing a linspace from my resting point to the final value that I want them to be before going out of the zone. So the for loop we're in the zone that we're still in. We're going to turn hold off. This is going to get rid of the previous markers, so that way I don't have a bunch of markers displayed at the same time. We're going to replot the character, turn hold on, and put the walls, so that way the marker and the wall will be there at the same time. And repeat that. That's going to give me a nice little animation of them leaving the zone. And then I will just display that for purposes here. So we're going to go down. We're leaving the zone. Boom, new zone. So for that new zone, what we have is a for loop that is going to fill every single plot that I have, all my subplots. And then we're going to generate whatever zone we're going into, which in this case is zone 4. We're going to do that by specifying what subplot I'm working with. We're going to fill that subplot's walls, hold on because I have multiple walls. And then if the key zone is equal to 4, so if my random key generation is the zone that I'm in, then we're going to have this set up here. So right here, this section is going to plot the key along with the new area. And if the key is not here, then it wouldn't plot the key, but it would still plot the character moving into the zone. And at the end of that whole section that I got, we're going to say that if my new position is 1, 3, or whatever my resting position is for my zones, then I reassign my zone value and I increase the move counter. And then we would ask for other inputs. So now, since I moved south, I'm in zone 4, and I'm going to re-ask where I want to move. The directional logic is the same for all directions and all zones. If you go north or south, you're going to be moving with, I'm going to be changing the Y direction, and if I'm moving east or west, I'm going to be changing the X direction, and it's all the same for every zone. So I'm just going to play until I find my key. Let me go down for a while. So we're in zone 8. All right, so I'm going to play until I find the key, and then we'll go from there. So let's go here. Let's go down. It's here. Okay, so I found the key. All right, once my character found the key, that'll end the original while loop, and we're going to go into the second while loop, which has the exact same movement logic, except now the key has disappeared, and we display a different message saying that the key is found and that you need to get back to zone 1. So how this works is as long as zone is not equal to 1, then I'm going to do the same stuff with north, south, east, or west. And now none of the plots will graph a key because we no longer want the key to appear. And we're going to go all the way down because it's the same for literally all of these. And just to get back to zone 1, I'm going to go north. And we're going to go here. We're going to end that while loop once I get into my new position. And we have the congratulations screen. So I have returned to zone 1. So we end that loop. And now I'm going to clear all of the previous command window stuff because it looked clunky. And then I'm going to display that I have won the game after my move counter amount. So in this case, I did it in 6 moves. And I'm going to tell them congratulations. And to get that color flashing effect of all the zones, I did a nested for loop. So we have a for II 1 to 3 because it happens 3 times. And for JJ is equal to 2 to 9 because we're only doing zones 2 through 9. We're going to plot, we're going to fill the whole thing with a random 1 to 3 RGB matrix. And we're going to pause for 0.2 so it's not happening instantly. And that's the end of the code. And yeah, thank you for watching.